in the last stream, we were working on upgrading our research production to allow us to get enough research to complete the last cluster of research quests at the end of this quest line. And we also started doing some work on kind of crafting the requisite items to complete these 5 item challenge quests and the 1 power challenge quest in order to finish the pack and unlock a new way home. Now, between streams, this has been running for a few more minutes. It's not been running for a very long time. Over here, we're still obviously full on logistics. Mechanics has just passed over. We're 194. We need 192. Production is done as well. We've got 62 out of 48. Utility is done. We've got 52 out of 48. Chemical is done. I think, chat, that we can actually begin today by handing in all of the research required. So if we take 3 stacks of logistics, we can go ahead and hand all that in. We then need 3 stacks of mechanics, which I believe we also have. We can go ahead and hand all of that in. We then need 3... We don't need 3 stacks. We need 48 production. So if we just take 1 stack, that should be enough to do all 3 of these quests. We don't get anything for doing this apart from unlocking the end of the quest line, but this is research that is required to finish the pack. So I'll hand all of that in, and then finally we just need 48 of you, the 8x variant, to hand that in. And chat, we have submitted all of the research required, so now all of the research that we have left is kind of just research that we can use for anything else that we'd like to unlock, if there is anything else we'd like to unlock. I know one thing that people would like me to unlock is potentially these HV energy conduits. These could be quite useful, potentially. For that, we do need 8 lots of 64 mechanics, which we don't quite have. We've only got 3. So obviously all this research is still being made, and I'm hoping that at some point in the stream we might be able to unlock a few more bits of research like the HV energy conduits, if we have the research for it, I guess, at the time. But now that that's taken care of, we've got other stuff to take care of. So in terms of the portal frame, we have the 1000 lumium that is backed up over here and is completely ready to go. And in fact, I'm going to take this drawer, move it out of the way, and we'll go ahead and replace the multi-servo press right about there. That is going to once again get all of the lumium gears being made, even though I think we've still got a ton of them up here, but that's going to keep the system going should we need more research. This, for the time being, I guess we can just go and throw into the wall. If we kind of get rid of one of these drawers at the top, we can then take the lumium drawer and just whack it right about there. Fantastic. And that is all the lumium that we should need for that quest. In fact, I don't know if we have to hand it in like we did with the research, or if we just have to have it. I think it might be a case of having it. If it's a case of having it, then I just need to take it out of that drawer and have it in my inventory. But right now I've got stuff in my inventory. The reason for that is that right at the bottom, of course, we need to make 1,000 quantum probes. For that, we need 1,000 plutonium RTG, and I think we have basically everything apart from 4,000 graphite ingots to make that happen. We do have 512 graphite ingots over here. The 512 graphite ingots were part of the recipe for the extreme alloy. We need 1,000 extreme alloys, and for that we needed 500 graphite ingots, which we do now have. I'll click craft on that, and as soon as that's done, we're going to want to upgrade this drawer once again to allow us to store like 4,000 in here so that we can get 4,000 graphite ingots on the way. Over here, we've got 891 out of the 1,000 hop graphite, so we're close on that one as well. And I think we made 100 device frames in the last episode. If we didn't, I think we might have gotten pretty close. We might have made all of the copper gears and all of the tin required for it. So it should just be a case of shift-clicking out 2 stacks of device frames, and that should be that quest, I think, basically taken care of. Now, as I was saying about the quantum probes, though, the quantum probes, that's not quite 100. That is 98. We're missing 2 more. Let me get 2 more copper gears and then 2 more device frames. Perfect. Okay, there is that quest taken care of. We don't actually have to hand the device frame in. We just have to have it, which is perfect. So, the quantum probes require the RTG. They also require the circuit boards, and they require plastic plates. The plastic plates are coming in. Right now, we're not using our plastic for anything other than making plastic plates. Up here, we've got 2,537, and the plastic is coming in pretty regularly. You'll see this compactor is kind of working non-stop. It keeps getting more plastic plates. That is because between streams, I have gone ahead and whacked a full stack of speed and energy upgrades into this electrolyzer. It is using a lot of power, but it seems to be running pretty well. I did make one change to our setup over here. Before, we had all of our uranium-238 going to this sequential fabricator first, and then it was going to this sequential fabricator for the LEU-233 as like a lower priority. And all I've done between streams is instead of having it go here first and then here at a lower priority, now I've set this to round robin, and so the uranium is distributed between these two, and that seems to be getting us a more consistent amount of power. What I've also done over here, I have upgraded this plutonium drawer because this reactor was also not working because it was fully backed up, which meant we weren't getting the 62,000 redstone flux per tick from this reactor. And another thing I should probably do is just make sure that all of these are set to void excess. That way, in the future, if this does back up, it's not going to stop us getting the power we need. So plastic is on its way. That's all good. It's going to get there at some point, hopefully before the end of today's stream. Next up is the circuit boards, and this is why I have all of these items in my inventory here, because if we are going to make 1,000 circuit boards, to do that, we need to use the engineer's workbench. And, you know, I was thinking of using the automated engineer's workbench. I've even got all of the items here to set up an automated engineer's workbench, but thinking about it from a time perspective, it might just be faster to craft all of this in a regular engineer's workbench. We need 1,000 copper plates, we need 2,000 vacuum tubes, and we need 1,000 insulating glass. The vacuum tubes do also have to be made in the engineer's workbench, but you do get 3 at a time here, and so I think getting 333 nickel plates, 333 copper wire, 333 redstone, and 333 glass, and then just crafting it manually is going to be so much faster than using the automated workbench, because as we've seen before, the automated workbench is a little slow, and so I think I might give up on automating that. The only thing we don't have here is the required items to make insulating glass. This requires green pigment, or cactus green, and pulverized iron. So we need 1,000 of these. We get 2 at a time, and so we need 500 cactus green and 1,000 pulverized iron. So the pulverized iron should be fine. I actually don't know if we have pulverized iron backed up. We don't. We have dirty iron. That's fine. I think if we take just a regular piece of iron and place it into the pulverizer, that should get us pulverized iron. Let me just quickly check that that is indeed the case. It is. Nice. Okay, cool. So what I'm thinking here is if we take our portable logic programmer, we go to recipe, we throw in the card, and then we just teach our system how to make pulverized iron in the pulverizer, like this. And then, of course, as per usual, if we just set this to 64 and 64, this might not work. Before we had trouble with the pulverizer not accepting a recipe like this. I don't know why it won't, but that's probably fine. In that case, let's swap it to just 1-to-1, and then we'll just request 1,000 pulverized iron, and the system should slowly but surely process that and get us all the pulverized iron that we need. So in here, we'll go for pulverized iron. Could I have 1,000? Yes, perfect. Over here, make sure that this is set to like 5 ticks, so it's as fast as possible, and we could also potentially do with upgrading this with a Signalum upgrade kit if we have the ability to make one, which we totally do. We might as well also grab a few more speed augments to make use of the extra augment space. 1 and 2. Fantastic. That is going to use more power. Probably more power than it can currently receive because it's only got the one 500 RF per tick cable. But if we were to grab one more energy conduit, we should be able to place one down right about... Not there. We should be able to place one down. Let me get some more energy conduits here. That was not where I intended to place those. I wanted to place one down right about here. That's going to connect to the pulverizer, and it should give it access to 1,000 redstone flux per tick, which should allow it to hit the 700 RF per tick that it's using there, and so we should get what we need. As for the cactus green, there are a couple of ways we can make it. We can smelt leaves, cactus, or grass. So first things first, we're going to need shears. I did accidentally make a few shears earlier in the pack. I say accident, of course, they were completely intentional. I was thinking ahead, 500 IQ for this exact moment, and so we just need to get 500, either leaves or grass. We do have a lot of trees, but I think leaves and grass are going to be equally difficult to get, and so we just need to get 8 stacks of grass, drop it in the system, and then tell that system how to turn that grass into cactus green using our redstone furnace. Okay, so we've got 9 stacks of grass, which I'm fairly certain is more than enough here. Let's go ahead and drop all of that into the system, and then it should just be a case here of us teaching our redstone furnace that 1 grass equals 1 cactus green. Perfect. We'll go and do that. Encode. And then we'll drop that in behind the redstone furnace. Right about here. And then we should just be able to request all of the cactus green. We're getting there slowly but surely. On the pulverized iron, we've got 315 remaining. That's completely fine. Down here, let's go cactus green. And can I get 500 cactus green? I can. So while we wait for all of that to process, we can come back and do the manual crafting for the circuits soon. Let me check in again on plates. We are at 3,061. So that is definitely going to get completed today. Over here, 937, that's on its way as well, which is fantastic. This has refilled up. I don't know if this has been used yet for the extreme alloy. This guy, I think, should still be working on that. It is. Like, stuff is still being done here. That is completely fine. I think the recipe we put in here is like one at a time, which means it might take a little while. We'll see how it goes. If it ends up being a problem, we can always cancel the craft and then change the recipe card to say, hey, do make like a stack at a time. But over here, what I will do is I will put a draw upgrade in, because we know we're going to need at least 4,000 more graphite. There we go. The graphite was used a little bit there. That's good to know. So we've got 512. If we multiply that by 8, we're going to get up to the 4,000 that we need. So let's do something like this. Upgrade the straw here, and that should allow us to get all the graphite we're going to need in order to make the quantum probes, right? Because we need the plutonium RTG. Now, the other thing that we need to work on is the portal coolant. Last episode, I requested 2,100 coolers, and if we check in the system, we do have 2,311 coolers now. So we have all of the empty coolers required, and in fact, I'm fairly certain that we do now also have the 8,000 enderium. We totally do. Fantastic. So I'm going to take this drawer and just move it, because I don't want to take the enderium out and then have the system making more. I don't want to waste power on making more of these when we don't have to. Instead, if we go down, I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the lumium, where we just steal a pre-existing drawer and then replace it with the enderium, and then, of course, ideally, rotate that to face forward. Like that. Perfect. I'll also lock that drawer, and our system should now have access to that enderium, at which point we should be able to make the 1,000 enderium coolers that we need to make. So if we're going to get 1,000 divided by 64 is 15.5 stacks is what we need. That might take a little while because there is a little bit of a delay whenever I try and take a stack of anything out, but we should have all of the resources to make it happen. And there we go, 1,000 enderium coolers. Again, don't have to hand them in, we just have to have them available to us. We can put all them back in the system. Fantastic, that's that bit taken care of. The 100 thermal mediators, I'm also fairly certain we made those. We got 64 of them. Did I not make another stack of those? I must not have done. Although that's probably where I used my device frames at, actually. I probably made them and then didn't pull them out. It looks like we need more iron gears for that. That's not a problem either. The next cooler, though, that's going to be a problem, I think, is helium. I don't think cryotheum is going to be too bad for us. We're making it pretty quick already. We've already got 2 magma crucibles melting that stuff down. So I need 1 more iron gear to get to the 100 we need. Quest complete? Quest complete. Perfect. The helium, however, as I mentioned at the end of the last episode, is a problem because it requires liquid helium, and the helium that we are generating over in this little outhouse over here is gaseous helium, right? And it makes 40 millibuckets of helium per tick. So we've got this one right here, which is a fair bit of helium, but if we're going to make 100 helium coolers, we need 100,000 millibuckets of helium, or 100 buckets of helium. Each 25 millibucket batch of helium that we get requires 8,000 millibuckets of helium. So 8 buckets of helium gas equals 1/40th of the liquid helium that we need for 1 bucket, right? So we need to take 8,000 millibuckets of helium. We need 40 times that. So we need 320,000 millibuckets of helium per bucket of liquid helium, and we need 100 buckets of liquid helium. So we need a lot of helium, like a lot of helium. So we're going to have to get a few more of these helium collectors, ideally at least one of these dense helium collectors to allow us to start producing quite a lot of helium. This makes 320 millibuckets per tick. That is 6,400 millibuckets per second. So it makes over 6 buckets of helium per second. That is probably the minimum of what we're going to need. So to make these, as we've seen before, we need basic plating, we need zirconium, and we need blocks of thorium-230. So the zirconium, I think we have some extra, but we of course need the zirconium dust, which we get from the rock crusher with the diorite. That shouldn't be a problem. I can't remember if we put the rock crusher back in the system or if I left it down on the ground somewhere around here. I don't see it here. However, this is the melter. Between streams, by the way, I did add more energy batteries as well. I think each one of these is only able to output 5,000 RF per tick still, and so I put down multiple of them, and that seemed to help with our power situation over by the research. But we might have actually reused the rock crusher now that I think about it up here. Yeah, I think our rock crusher is currently working on making us this boron arsenide, which we don't really need more of at this point, but we can leave that going. Let's go ahead and make another rock crusher. To my memory, they're not particularly difficult to make. We do need 2 more of these linear actuators, as well as another electric motor, which of course, as per usual, requires the copper solenoids, which we never seem to have. And then as for the machine chassis, we just need to steal 1 more of our own machine frames out of here. Fantastic. That gets us the machine chassis and the rock crusher. Cool. So we'll take that and we'll put that down somewhere over here on the main line. That, of course, is going to allow us to fill this thing up with speed and energy upgrades. At this point in time, I might go and steal some speed and energy upgrades from some of our other machines. I think temporarily I'll steal some from here, and we'll see. Actually, I do want to make sure we have the same number in here, otherwise we're going to run into problems pretty quickly. But I'll steal some, and we'll see how fast we can make this. If I put in 50 of each, how fast is this guy? We do, of course, need the diorite. Right now, we don't have any diorite, but that is fine. We do have cobblestone, and we have nether quartz, so making a lot of diorite should be fine. We could do what we've done with the andesite and use the igneous extruder, but again, I think it's just going to be faster in general if we just manually craft the diorite and then throw it in and allow this to work kind of at full speed. Of course, the other thing that we needed was thorium. And so over here, it turns out we are taking our thorium ingots and we are running them through the isotope separator to get thorium-232, which is what we're using over here to make TBU fuel. But as a byproduct, you also get tiny clumps of thorium-230. Thorium-230, as it turns out, is what we need here. And so between streams, I added 2 more item interfaces here and here, as well as an item exporter and a compacting drawer for those tiny clumps of thorium-230. And so now we do have 150 blocks of thorium-230 backed up, which is perfect. We need 1 of these per helium collector, and we need 64 of these tier 1 helium collectors if we're going to make 1 of the tier 3 helium collectors, because it takes 8 of these to make 1 of the compact ones, and then it takes 8 compact ones to make 1 of the dense ones. So we need a lot of helium collectors, but that should be fine. You'll see here we've already got 29 zirconium dust. If we're going to get 64 of these, that means we need 4 stacks of zirconium, but I don't think that's going to take us too long with how fast this rock crusher is. We're just going to have to make many, many, many stacks of diorite, but we obviously have unlimited cobblestone. We do have limited nether quartz, but I think we should have more than enough here. Like, I think we should be fine. All right, so quite a lot of diorite crushing later, and we've got over 8 stacks of zirconium dust. Initially, I was just going to go for the 4 stacks, but after crunching some numbers, even if we just made 1 of these dense helium collectors, it would take about 83 minutes to get all of the helium needed to make all of the liquid helium to make the helium coolers. And so instead, if we get 2 of them, it's only going to take like 41.5 minutes, which is still a little while, but it's substantially faster. So I'm going to put my speed upgrades back in here with the energy upgrades, just to keep that hydrogen coming in for the plastic, because we do still need about 1,000 plastic sheets. But now that we have all of this zirconium, we should be able to start smelting that up into zirconium ingots. And then from there, we should, of course, be able to start making more of these helium collectors. We already have the blocks of thorium. We got 1 stack there, and I will go ahead and grab another stack as well. It's probably well worth us upgrading this with a signal upgrade kit as well, just to make it even faster. And just like we did with the pulverizer earlier, let's throw in a couple of reception coils. Nice. And I think, again, we might have a small problem with power, but if we do this, I don't foresee us putting a machine here. That should hopefully give this access to a bit more power and hopefully make that a little bit faster. While we wait for that, let's grab that other stack of thorium blocks, and we'll drop both of those into the system. Along with 2 stacks of thorium blocks, we're also going to need to get a lot of basic plating. We need 4 stacks of basic plating per dense helium collector, so we need 8 stacks of basic plating, which I think might be fine. We might be a little bit low on coal, and also potentially a little low on lead. I think We were running a little low on lead previously, but we are backed up now again, which is good. Obviously, lead was being used to make all of the Enderium. How much coal do we have? Basically, none, which is not ideal, and there we're completely out of coal, which is very bad indeed. Over here, we are, of course, getting coal from our sawmill, and it's being sent around up here. So coal comes back kind of slowly but surely. I think the limiting factor here is just how fast this one sawmill is. Like, we've kind of upgraded it as much as we can. There is another tier of upgrade kit, the thermal upgrade kit, but for this we need so much research that we don't have access to. And so what we might want to do is potentially look at putting down another sawmill connected to this sequential fabricator, which I think should be doable. I don't think this is needed anymore, this coal to tiny coal converter. I think this was for a bygone age of rail infrastructure that we're not using currently. I think if we were to do something like this, get rid of that cable down there, put this here, get rid of this cable here, I think at that point we should make room to have another output and send some of the torches here into another sawmill, which should then allow us to double up on the speed at which we're producing coal, which will also be useful as well for the coal coke, because I think last time I checked, some of these were running a little low on coal. Most of them, if not all of them, do still have coal in them, although this one's completely out here. Most of them are pretty low, though, so I think definitely coal production is something we need more of. What are we missing here? We're just missing one regular machine frame, which, of course, we can grab from here. Good stuff. And that's going to get us one more sawmill. We'll make another signal conversion kit, and we do want to make sure, of course, that this is hooked up to the right item conduit line. So with this here, we want the right set to input, like that. And then this guy is set to output sticks to the right, and that's on the brown channel. And then output coal to the back, and that's on the green channel. Okay, that should be okay. Do these item conduits connect to each other is my next question. I think they might. We are still powering our sequential fabricator here with the old LV connectors, which is maybe not the best situation in the world, but this appears to be okay, although this is actually not a line that connects here. So in that case, let's do the bank here can output the coal. The coal goes on the green line, right? Yes, the green line. So we'll set this to extract on green, which it already is, and we'll say that always active. You are already getting torches, that's perfect. You do need power, which is going to be tricky because there's no conduits here, but what we can probably do is we can probably rectify that. If we take some of these energy conduits that we have, there are already energy conduits nearby, thanks to this redstone furnace setup. So I think what I'll do, just to make our lives a little easier, is run an energy conduit from here up and around into the block with these item conduits. That should bring this sawmill online and should also allow us to kind of retire this LV wire connector here. That's going to be no longer required and should allow us to make this faster in the future if we so wish. And then all we need to do now is get rid of the sticks, although I think what we can probably do here is use the augment that allows us to delete the secondary products that are made so that we just don't have to worry about the sticks at all. The nullification chamber is the one that we're after here. It does require some invar nuggets, that is completely fine, and a bucket of lava, which is also fine if we have enough nether brick, which we don't. That's completely fine though, because we can make more, because we've got loads of blast brick. That's good. So let's get more nether brick, and then let's get that bucket of lava, and of course, the nullification chamber, which we can then throw in here. And that should delete any excess sticks. All we need to do is make sure the back there is set to output. That's going to start taking that coal, and that's going to increase our production. And then, of course, the final piece of the puzzle is just to get one hardened upgrade kit, one reinforced upgrade kit with an aluminum gear, and then ideally one more signalum upgrade kit, which does require more of these electrum coil blocks, which of course we can't make. That'd be far too easy. Can we get there by the skin of our teeth? We definitely can. Fantastic. And with that, of course, we can make a conversion kit, which we can then place on here to go right all the way up to Signalum tier. And with that, we can just fill this thing up with reception coil augments to make it nice and fast. Boom. Nice. Okay, cool. So with all of these in, this is going to use 600 redstone flux per tick, which is actually more than it is scheduled for. But even running at 500 RF per tick, which is not going to be its full potential, I still think it's going to make it a lot faster, and it's still going to almost double us up on coal production and should be good enough. Somebody just asked if we need to recycle the sticks. I don't think we do. Like, I think we should be fine here. I don't think we're going to have a problem. We're making an excess of sticks. I think this is going to get enough sticks from this sawmill to keep the whole system going. You'll see it's still full, which is perfectly fine. And so I don't think it matters too much that we're just deleting the excess sticks from here. I don't think that's going to have any negative ramifications for us. It does make it a little awkward because it means that we kind of have to make this basic plating in batches, like kind of as and when the coal comes in, which is less than ideal. But I think that's kind of just how it's going to have to be as we slowly but surely back up on coal here. We could, of course, start taking some coal out of here, which I might do, actually, because we do have quite a lot of coal backed up in some of these redstone furnaces, and I might use that to get this helium going, because, as I mentioned before, the helium is going to take a very long time, so the sooner we can get the helium production set up, the better. And there we go. That didn't actually take too long when we started stealing from the coke ovens there, so now we can put all this basic plating back away, and hopefully we should be good to go here just as soon as we finish smelting up the zirconium. I think, again, it's probably going to be easier if we just teach the system how to smelt the zirconium on its own, and then we can just request it be smelted, and we don't have to stand there and kind of babysit the redstone furnace as it continually smelts like 8 stacks of zirconium. So over here, let's go zirconium, and let's request 405, which is all of the zirconium that we have. Next. Start. Perfect. Other than that, I think we are kind of good to go here on the circuit boards, because we should now have over 500 cactus green. We do. We should also have over 1,000 pulverized iron. We do. And so real quick, I'm going to clear out a good chunk of my inventory here to free up some space. And then let's see if we can't actually make this happen. So if we want to get 1,000 circuit boards, we need to first get 1,000 vacuum tubes. That's fine. Nickel plates. We need 333 nickel plates. We've got 7 currently. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. That should be 360-ish nickel. We're going to run all of that, of course, through the mega metal press here into nickel plates. Other than that, we need copper wire. Between streams, I'll do this, by the way. Between streams, I did swap out the metal press that we were using for copper wire for the same system that we're using for steel gears. So I taught the system how to make copper wire. If we go in here, we should see that copper wire is now craftable. Again, same setup as usual. I taught the metal press over here how to make copper wire 64 at a time, and then we just started to export that copper wire to this drawer with crafting set to true and a storage downgrade to make sure we never go over 64. The reason for that is that we were just not producing enough with the old metal press to keep up with this many researchers, and so that is now being made faster. The good news, though, is that means that copper wire-wise, I can just request the 333 copper wire that we need in order to make this happen. Next. And craft. Perfect. Let me quickly go check on the nickel plates here. They're ready to go. Let's put in the next 3 stacks. While we wait for those to come in, the final piece of the puzzle is glass and redstone. So we need 300, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. So about 6 stacks of glass and 6 stacks of redstone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then let's see if those copper wires are coming in. They are indeed. Nickel plates are also coming in. We'll try and get 6 stacks of nickel plates and 6 stacks of copper wires. And then we also do need to get the crafting components blueprint, which we might already have, actually. We do. Fantastic. Let me put that in here. We'll swap out whatever's in there currently, the arc furnace electrodes one, and we'll also take these out. I should do a check and see how we're doing on some key resources. I think we're doing fine. And I don't think we need to make any more electrodes. Yeah, we're doing okay here. A lot of our arc furnaces are completely out of electrodes and they're not being used, but we've backed up on so many shards across all of our main resources that we need that I don't think it's going to be a problem. Like, we've got tens, if not hundreds of thousands of, like, ingots worth of shards backed up, so we should be completely fine. Let us take a look, though. Nickel plates. We're good to go. Perfect. Boom. And boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 stacks is exactly what we need. And then as for the copper wire, we have 1 stack, 2 stacks, 3 stacks. We are still waiting for the rest to come in, which it looks like is on its way. Is that requesting 21,000? Oh, no, hold on. Cancel job. I made a mistake there. I do it every time. I requested 300 lots of 64, which is way too much copper wire. Let me change that to like 5. Something like this. Next. and start. We don't need 19,000 copper wire being made. We just need 2 more stacks on what we already have. And thankfully, that is on its way in. This plastic card we can get rid of. That was from our exporter over here. Obviously, we're no longer exporting plastic to be made into plastic rods, so we don't need that either. We just need 1 more stack of copper wire, and boom. Nice. Okay, so back over here, we can go 1 stack of each thing to get the vacuum tubes. Nice. Whether or not we're going to have the inventory space for this, I'm actually not too sure. I think we should. Yeah, we get like 3 stacks for every 4 stacks we put in, but that looks fine. Cool. Let's do you, and let's do you. Perfect. That's a lot of vacuum tubes. Now, we need to take those vacuum tubes and craft them with copper plates and insulating glass. The insulating glass is just made in the system. That is completely fine. So, copper plates. Do we have any copper plates? We do not. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 6 stacks of copper, and just like before, we're just going to turn that all into copper plates nice and quickly with the mega metal press. We actually need more than 6 stacks, right? 6 stacks is only 333. We need 1,000 copper plates, so we need to do this quite a few times, but that is not going to be a problem. As and when we get those copper plates, I'm going to have to make some space here. I'm going to have to put some of these vacuum tubes back in the system just because we don't have the space for it. We do need 1,000 insulating glass. 1,000 divided by 64, I think, was just over 15. So we need 15.5 stacks of insulating glass here, which is quite a lot. And again, with the delay here, it might take a second, but we should have everything it takes to make them. And there we go. There's 16 stacks of insulating glass. Again, I'm going to put a lot of it back in the system. And now we just need to keep dumping more and more copper into the mega metal press here to get more copper plates. But as those copper plates come in, we can then start taking them out and we can start assembling the circuit boards here. So all we're going to do now is just start putting stuff in like this. And as it fills up, we can just start taking them out. Whoops, that is my bad. I made 1,000 vacuum tubes, and it turns out we need 2,000, right? Because we need 1,000 circuit boards, and it's 2 vacuum tubes per. So I need to go and make double the number of vacuum tubes, but we are halfway there on the circuit boards. We have just over 500 of the circuit boards required. We just need to go and get some more vacuum tubes. All right, so way too much micro crafting later. I think we have all the circuit boards. I think I just crafted the last of them. If I take all of the circuit boards that we made a second ago out of the system, the quest hasn't completed, which leads me to believe that we don't have... Oh no, the quest hasn't completed because, of course, we need to hand in the quantum probes. Right, we need to use these to make something else. That makes a lot of sense. If I put all of these away, do we have 1,000? We don't. We've got 897. Okay, that makes a little bit of sense. We do have more insulating glass. We don't have any... Oh no, we do have loads more vacuum tubes. That's my bad. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. The good news is that crafting the rest of these down should be as simple as doing this, and this, and this, and this. And then, is that all of the insulating glass? It is, but I assume that's not all of the circuits. Oh, no, it is. Boom, look at that, 1,000. Perfect. Okay, cool. So we made excess vacuum tubes. That is fine. So, now that those are taken care of, we, of course, are waiting on the plastic. We are now at 4,400. Nice. Okay, so plastic is ready to go. Plastic sheets, that is. And we do have the plutonium. Another problem again here. We need 1,000 of these plutonium RTGs, which means we need 4,000 basic plating, which means we need 1,000 coal and 1,000 lead. So the 1,000 lead we've got. The 1,000 coal we don't have. We've got 64 coal. Let me take out the storage downgrade here. If we just do a quick one of these, we'll take the storage downgrade out. That's fine. What I am going to do, I'm going to turn off the auto crafting of steel again because I don't think we're going to need any more mechanical research. My hope here is that we're going to limit our steel production because, of course, taking the coal and putting it in here is coal that doesn't get turned into coal coke, which is coal that then doesn't get turned into steel. But I think that's kind of fine. In fact, I might go through and kind of just stop production of steel altogether. If we take out these item cards that export the blocks of coal coke, that is going to stop using coal coke for making steel. And that's going to leave the coal coke for power, which I think is perfect, and for any of the crafts we might need. Like I said, I don't think we're going to need more steel. I think the 6,000 we have might be enough to get us through to the end of the pack, because we already have all the coolers we need. We've already got most of what is required here. The 1,000 multi-block capsule bases should be good to go now, I think, actually. We do have all the modularium that we requested previously. And so as far as multi-block capsule bases go, we just need to craft all of our modularium into machine casing, like a staggering amount of machine casing, and then we need to craft all of that machine casing into multi-block capsule bases. I clicked a lot here, and oh, there we go, it caught up. Okay, it took a while, as it does, but it should come out, and we just need to take all of our modularium and craft it all down. Again, quite plausibly, it might be worth just teaching this to the system so we don't have to do it manually like that, because even with all that clicking, we only went from 11 down to 8. That's not too bad, though, actually. I think we could make this work while we wait for the coal to come in. That's fine. There's not a huge rush on the coal just yet, because, of course, before we do anything in terms of making the quantum probes, we can do that right at the end. The first thing we need to do is get this helium set up. So, and even before this as well. Helium. How are we doing on zirconium? We've got 551. Is it still being smelted? It's not. That means I assume all of it has been smelted. So, this obviously also requires more basic plating. How many of these helium collectors can we make? Hopefully 64. And then hopefully another 64, although I have a feeling that we're going to run out of basic plating here before the second stack. Never mind, we are good to go. From there, we can craft those all down into 16 compact helium collectors, and then from there, with some gold, we can get 2 dense helium collectors. So, we need now to take those dense helium collectors and, I think, put them onto a supercooler. Yes, the supercooler here is another machine from Nuclearcraft. For it, we do need some hard carbon alloys, which we actually do have, surprisingly. I really thought we were not going to have what it took to make that. That's fine. Let's take one more of you. Let's do another one of these machine chassis. Drop that in the system. And magnesium dibride is good to go as well. Perfect. Okay, so that's our supercooler. This machine I don't think is going to be particularly fast. But again, this is going to be one of those situations where we can hopefully tap into our giant battery here to make it quicker. So if we do this, and if we put our 2 dense helium collectors, maybe like here and here, that's going to start producing helium, and you'll see that by default, it's not particularly fast. Now, we need 100 buckets of helium. These tanks here, I believe, hold over 100 buckets. They do. And so if we take the other tank, which right now is full of cryothium, again, I kind of want to keep it full of cryothium because I think we're going to need that going forward. Instead, what we can definitely do is just get 2 more upgrade kits, you and you, and that way we can put this guy down over here. Again, these can't auto-eject, so I'm going to put that here. I'm going to go boom, and then using our fluid conduits, we should hopefully be able to move things out fast enough. If this can't move fast enough, we can always swap it out for some integrated dynamics, fluid interfaces and fluid exporters. Extract, always active, and then once again, we're going to steal speed and energy upgrades. We have enough plastic now, so I'm fairly confident in just taking kind of all of the speed and energy upgrades out of here, and that's also going to give us a lot more power to work with as well, which I think we're going to need, because over here, 130,000 RF per tick, that kind of seems fine, but again, you'll see the limiting factor really is still the supercooler, because the dense helium is coming in fast enough, it's just not getting processed as fast as I'd like. If I get rid of this, if I take this away, is one of these good enough to keep it going? Not really. It's kind of hard to tell with the slight world lag that we have going on here, but I think 2 of these is required. I think it's probably going to take a little longer than 40 minutes just because of the slight lag that we have going on, but we do have over 1 bucket, almost 2 buckets here, and we need 100. So we'll leave this going. That should hopefully get us all of the helium that we need in due time. And so the next bit that we need to work on, and really the final thing here, let me check on hop graphite. Hop graphite is done. Fantastic. Let me, I guess, take all those out just to log the quest, and then let's put them all back in as well, because we don't actually really need them. Perfect. That's all good. Let's go ahead and stop you exporting coal coke. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and move this drawer here, because we don't need any more coal coke being sent that way. That's fine. So the quantum probes, we have everything we need apart from the basic plating. So we're just waiting on coal for that. That's going to be fine. We have the plutonium and the graphite. We need 4,000 graphite. How much do we have? We've got 500. The graphite's still coming in, though. I'm fairly certain that's another coal usage, so that's another thing that we kind of need to keep an eye on. Over here, I notice a power problem. Is that due to you not being set to 5,000? It is. Let's do that. But coal's coming in faster than ever. I'm confident we'll get to the 4,000 graphite we need fairly soon. But other than that, quantum probe's just waiting on coal. The portal, compression, we need to craft the 1,000 multi-block capsule bases. That's just going to be a manual craft. That's fine. The extreme alloy, I notice, is still not done. but I think is still being worked on, I would hope, by the system. It's getting there. We've got 882 done, and we've got more to go. We might want to cancel that and reteach the system how to craft things in bulk. But that's coming on its way. I'm not too worried about that not being done. Lumium we can just grab out of here. Again, we just take it all like we did with the hop graphite and then put it all back in because that quest is complete. Power is going to be an interesting one. How are we doing on mechanics research? We've got quite a bit of mechanics research to the point now where I might go ahead and actually unlock those 50,000 RF per tick conduits. So we need some of you, some of you, some of you, and some of you, I think. Let's see. We need 32x64 logistics, 8x64 mechanics, 24x8 production, and then just 64 utility. That is fine. Let's put you back and let's do that. That's going to unlock for us the next tier of conduit. The reason why I want these, the HV energy conduits, these don't seem too difficult to make. They do require HV-wire connectors, which we can make with all that lumium that we no longer need and we can use for anything. And we also need some HV-wire relays, which we can also tap into that lumium for, and then we can just drop some of the enderium, which we also maybe have some extra. We do indeed. The reason that I made these is that these are going to allow us to pump power into this FTB task screen at less than full tilt. Right now, I could put the task screen down onto the battery, but that would start just sucking all of our power because it can pull an unlimited amount. Whereas if we were to put down some HV conduits, that's going to allow us to specify how much power we want to send. So if we were to find some space on our battery here, which is easier said than done because the whole thing is full of stuff. Right here, actually, I guess, somewhat awkwardly, we do have the battery that goes all the way up the side here. Like this is part of the battery. So if we do this, and we put the screen here, that should start receiving like 100,000 redstone flux per tick, which should be fine because, again, we're not using the battery anymore. Always active on extract, always active on extract, that's good. In here, this is set to 10 billion tick, and if I check in here, is that going up or is that not working? It's working, nice. Okay, so we're sending 100,000 redstone flux per tick into there. Of course, we can add another 1, make that 150. We could add another 2, make that 200. That's still going up. Let me try 250. That is still going up, which is good. Is it going up faster here? Oh no, of course, I'm a fool. That's my bad. We're not doing that because, let me take some of these back. You've got to put more down on the screen itself, of course. That's my problem. We're extracting 100,000 here, but we're only inserting 50,000. Of course, we need to do this, and this. So now we can insert 50, 100, 150, 200, 250,000 max, right? But we're extracting 100, now we're extracting 150, now we're extracting 200, and now we're extracting 250. So now there should be 250 being extracted and 250 being inserted, and this is going up much, much faster. And for the time being, it seems like that's fine. It seems like we're holding steady on putting 250,000 RF per tick in there. And at that speed, it's going to take about 33 minutes-ish, I think, to fill that buffer. So we'll leave that going. That sounds all good and should get there slowly but surely. Over here, we've still got enough power working on this. It's getting done. And so now, I really think, chat, that the final thing to do is the cryothium coolers. And for that, we need to get 1,000 lots of 2,000 millibuckets of cryothium, which means we need 2 million millibuckets of cryothium. You get 250 millibuckets per piece of cryothium, which means we only need about 8,000 cryothium dust, which I don't think is going to be too bad. We do also, don't forget, have a tank that has 180 buckets of cryothium in it, which is not too insignificant. That's like 90 of these. So that's like almost 1/10 of what we need is stored up inside of this tank, but that's assuming that you can turn them back. I actually don't know if you can turn jelly cryothium back into cryothium dust. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that's how that works. I don't think you can only get it through this recipe here. So I think what we'll do is over here, all of these are conduit facades, which is why this is not coming up as easily as I'd hope. But over here, we should just be able to kind of tap into what's going on here. Right now, we're turning it all into cryothium, the liquid, but I honestly don't think we need any more cryothium. I think all of the cryothium is used to process ores, and I think we have enough of all the resources that we're going to need. And so these are set to insert on the green channel. If we get a draw and place that down... Oh, no, but I'm losing my mind, chat. I was saying you can't craft it back. Of course you can't craft it back, but I do need the Jolly Cryothium, so we can use this, of course, and that is going to get us... This tank is going to get us about 10% of the coolers that we need. Let's go ahead, I guess, in that case, and probably just get the fluid infuser and start doing this, right? Because we need to, I think, just stop using the Jolly Cryothium for ore processing and start using it exclusively for making Cryothium coolers. So for the fluid infuser, as per usual with these nuclear craft machines, we need a machine frame and we need 2 more advanced plating. So machine frame we can steal from here. Advanced plating we should be backing up on in this drawer, although again the lack of plastic means we're not making any more of those actively, but I think that is completely fine. Machine chassis and fluid infuser. Nice. So I am going to grab this wrench, because I think around here we do have some of these facades. Yeah. I'm going to basically take out the fluid interfaces. I'm going to take both those off. That disconnects these magma crucibles from the rest of the machine setup that we have. And in fact, I can probably just get rid of these as well. Although, actually, now that I mention that, what might be a better idea is to leave these on, reconnect that back up, and instead just go and take out the card that exports the cryothium to the ore processing, because what that's going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to export the cryothium over by where we have power, which I think is going to make our fluid infuser a lot faster. So we'll leave this here. This is actually completely fine. I can even go ahead and replace down some of these facades. That is not a facade. The facades, and that's from Ender.io, I think. This is the one I'm after. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. So right now we're exporting this over here, right, to our fluid transposer. If we take this card out that is exporting the Jolly Cryothium, that's going to stop our ore processing, but I think that's fine. I think everything is backing up quite nicely, and the only thing that's going to stop is the induction smelter here, which I think is not going to be a problem. Over here, we can take that new fluid infuser, and we can place it down on the line, preferably somewhere close to where we already have an omnidirectional connector. It does also need to be on the battery, though, so this here is already connected, which is good. And we don't need this melter actually anymore. This melter was something we attempted last episode and that didn't really work. So here we have the fluid infuser. All we need to do is get the fluid exporter, which again I might as well steal from this guy over here. We can just grab that, and then back over here we can just put in the same fluid exporter and the same cryothium fluid card, like this and like this. That should export the cryothium. It does. We're then going to take the... Well, I was going to take the stack of speed upgrades, but we're getting there. We're a third of the way there on the helium, which is good. I don't know if taking this down is actually going to make it any slower, because it kind of seems like it was already... It definitely makes it a little bit slower, but I don't know if it makes it so much slower that it's actually worth it. That's fine. I think we do have the resources to make more speed and energy upgrades, right? For the energy upgrades, we need more gold plates, and then for the speed upgrades, we need more iron plates, and then the only thing we might have to do here, as per usual, is go and steal some more fluxed electrum ingots if we don't have enough to get us up to a stack of energy upgrades. And even then, I don't know if a stack of energy upgrades is strictly going to be necessary. Redstone and aluminum-wise, I think we are perfectly good to go. We should just get the full stack here, I think, so long as those plates are in the right place. We did indeed. Fantastic. And so let's see here. If we do this and this and this, another thing we're probably going to want to do is get an item exporter and export the coolers. I think that's going to be a sensible thing for us to do. So if we just do this, it saves us having to do this manually. Do we have any more cables left? We have just enough cable, actually, to make this work, which is fantastic. And then, cooler-wise, we do have 1,000 coolers left. Well, 1,300. What I'll do, I'll take out 120 of those, and I'll set those aside for the helium. So I'll put those in there. Those are to make our helium coolers later on once we have the helium ready to go. What we want to do now, though, is we want to get a variable card out of the system, quickly encode that as an item card for the empty cooler, place that in here, like so, and that should begin exporting those out and should start making those coolers. And then from there, all we'll do is grab a storage drawer and set the machine to extract. So if we go and quickly make that look like marble with our framing table, boom and boom. Ideally without a speed upgrade edge. That's a bit of a waste of a speed upgrade, but thankfully I don't think we're going to need it. We should be able to just put this here, and then I think the item conduits are going to be fast enough. It looks like the cryothium is definitely the limiting factor here, so we'll do this. We'll set you to extract, always active, and you to insert. And yeah, it's just a case of getting 1,000 cryothium coolers. The jelly cryothium is by far and away the limiting factor. Let's go see if there's any small ways in which we can make this faster, and we can also potentially look at trying to figure out how long it's going to take at our current production speeds, because these magma crucibles are full. The first thing we can do, obviously, is get 2 more signalum upgrade kits. We are out of electrum coils, and so in terms of making more signalum upgrade kits, we are first going to have to take some of the lumium, and did I say signalum coils or electrum coils? I meant lumium coils. We can take the lumium coils, drop that in here. Somebody in chat asked if we could use the melter instead. I think the answer is probably yes, but I imagine it's a similar situation to yesterday where we were trying to use the melter for Enderium and it's just super power hungry. That's probably less of a problem now because, well, we are losing power a little bit actually. Let me take one of these off. That is going to make this a little slower, but I think this taking more than half an hour is probably fine. It's more important that all of our machines stay online. The melters just use a staggering amount of power comparatively. And for now, we'll see how fast the magma crucibles are. If the magma crucibles turn out to be too slow, like it's going to take, you know, hours and hours and hours for this to happen, then we can maybe rethink our strategy. But for the time being, I think this should be fine. We need more treated sticks. We need more HV wire coil. Boom and boom. And then with that, we should be able to make more of these electrum coil blocks. This is why I said electrum earlier when they're actually made of lumium. That's fine. We'll take 1 of you, 2 of you. Boom, boom, and of course we'll also get some more of these augments as well, although I think I did make a stack of them earlier today. I did indeed. Let's make you and you as fast as is humanly possible. That is going to clock in at 1,400 redstone flux per tick, to the point where it's probably worth getting energy exporters, because the number of LV conduits required for that is going to be, I think, just excessive. And given that we already have integrated dynamics cabling like right above this, just doing this and getting some more cable should allow us to export up to 5,000 redstone flux to this and should keep it all going. All right, so these are all hooked up and they are doing their thing. They're turning the cryothium into gelid cryothium. That is all good. And of course, we do have this portable tank here. We can start taking that and using it to kind of fill up the fluid infuser over here. By my calculations, it should be a lot faster. Again, due to the slight lag that we have, it's going to take longer, I think, than it should. But I am fairly certain. Actually, if we get like a fluid interface here, we can just put this tank down and have it accessible to the system. Like if I just do this and this, I think that's going to start getting extracted. Yeah, and then sent around into here, presumably. That looks right. Yeah, the fluid is getting pulled out of there. Perfect. So that's keeping this somewhat nice and full. Is there a speed like here that we are running at? There is a fluid transfer rate of 1,000. I don't know if you can go higher than that. You can't. 1,000 is the maximum, which is fine. That's a bucket at a time, which is good enough, and that's going to get used slowly but surely. I think it's going to take just shy of an hour for all of the jelly cryothium to get made and all of the cores to get made. We're already over 10% of the way there. We're still waiting on our helium. That's about halfway there. And other than that, we're still waiting on our extreme alloys. They are getting there. We're at... we got like 400 of them, I guess. We got another 600 to go. That's fine. I think I will go ahead and cancel that because I think, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to make a lot more sense if we just go and change the recipe. Over here at the top, I think it's going to get done just significantly faster. We've got... This is the wrong one. We are after one of the ones in here. There's the extreme alloy. I think we have all the tough alloy and all of the hard carbon alloy required. Like it's made all of the stuff required to make that. It's just a case of putting it in. In fact, taking it out and putting it in manually at this point would be faster. But in the interest of the automation, let's go here. Let's go to recipe. Let's put you in there. And then let's, once again, extreme alloy. All I'm going to do is shift-click that in and then change the numbers to be 64, 64, and 64. Perfect. Then we can take that. We can put that back in over here. And now if we go and request the remaining 600 and however many that we need, we should just be able to do that. So we've got 380, which means we need 620. So And of course, that's total, not the number here. So we'll do for 10. That's going to make 640. Next, and craft. That might do a few small crafts to begin with, because that might need a little bit more tough alloy and a little bit more hard carbon, but that should come in much, much faster. And yeah, we're about halfway there on the power. We've got the extreme alloy coming in. I can go and make the multi-block capsule bases, and then we're just waiting on coal for the probes. And so yeah, now it's kind of just a waiting game. We're backing up on coal, we're backing up on coal coke, we're getting the stuff we need. We just have to wait for like half an hour to 50 minutes, I guess, for this to kind of finish up its stuff. And so what I think I'm going to do, one thing the Twitch chat has been asking me to do for quite some time, for many, many episodes now, they've been asking me to decorate these tunnels underground, because I said, I think at the beginning of the pack, I would try and make these look a little bit nicer before we finished. There is still a minecart rocking around here, I'm pretty sure. Like, I think he's still going around doing his thing, trying to make drop-offs and collections, and of course, there's quite a few places where I have jumped up and had to rebuild. There he is, look at that, he's still doing his job. His job is redundant and useless, but he's here. He's doing his job. He's doing his thing. And so while we wait for all of our stuff to process, I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit of tunnel decorating. All right, and quite a while later, we now have a somewhat more decorative underground tunnel with some marble walls and some treated wood around. In the time that it took me to do that contractually obligated decorating, we have completed the power hand-in quest. That is done. We have gotten all, I believe, of the 1,000 extreme ingots. We have indeed. We'll just take them all out to complete the quest. Need a few more slots of space. Fantastic. Then we can hand all those back in because we don't need them. Then, I didn't craft the multi-block capsules. We'll do that in just a second. We are getting there on the stuff we need here. So coal is backing up. We have got 758 coal. The reason it's not backing up as much as I'd like is because we're using it to make graphite. Over here, we're not quite done on graphite. We've got 2,400 out of the 4,000 we need. I put in a diamond upgrade here to give it more space, but then without taking out the downgrade, that locked it at 2,048, so we're a lot stuck there. Here, if we take all these cryotherm coolers out, we should have enough to complete the quest. I am really hoping, yes, fantastic, that I was going to say I'm hoping the quest is like completable. Because we've not actually unlocked the coolers, but it does work, which is good. I just need to dump all these in the system now because I can't hold them in my offhand. So now we can kind of go ahead and get rid of the cryotherm exporter on that. From there, if we break and replace the fluid infuser, we kind of just need to do the same thing now, but with the tank of helium, which we have. So if I just kind of grab this and move it over to like here, I'm fairly certain that we should be able to export the helium down into the fluid infuser, and then we can use the empty coolers that we stored earlier to make the helium. So let's take this interface and let's put that down right about here. Then let's grab a bucket. With that, we can go ahead and grab a bucket of helium. That's going to allow us to set up a fluid card for helium. We're then going to place that, of course, into here, export fluid helium. That's going to put the helium into the fluid infuser. Fantastic. And then from there, we can just take these out, put them in like so, and, of course, re-add in the speed and energy upgrades to make those helium coolers. Those are going to get stored in here, and we just now have to run through and get 100 of those, which should not be too bad whatsoever. And at that point, we're basically almost good to go. While I wait for that to do its thing, and while we wait for the graphite, I'm going to quickly craft up the multi-block capsule bases. All right, so not too long later, and we now have all of our modularium in the form of machine casing. It turns out it's faster to craft in here. I think the lag that we get when we try and request like a stack of items is the simple storage network trying to access the storage through integrated dynamics. It's a bit of a long like chain for it to get to, whereas if we do it in here and we do this and then just shift click here, it crafts almost instantly, which is much nicer. So we can just click and keep crafting the stacks and stacks and stacks of multi-block capsules that we're going to need, and we should, in theory, have enough to make this work. How many do we have? 707? Did we really not get enough modularium to make this happen? I guess we didn't, because we do not have enough. We are at 707. We need 300 more of these casings. The only problem, of course, with using the terminal here is that sometimes using the terminal breaks our inventory setup. That should be fine. We can, of course, go ahead and request many thousands more modularium. I really thought we had enough though, but that's completely fine. If we need 300 more of these, that means that we need 2,400 more machine casing. 2,400 more machine casing is like 5,000 more modularium. Fine. Start craft. Again, the induction smelter is not particularly fast here, and so you know what? I might cancel that. It's one of those situations where we do have an alloy furnace right here, and I think it is honestly going to be faster for us to throw this down onto a capacitor, and then let me quickly get the rest of the coolers out of here, and by coolers I mean... Oh, you know, coolers is right. They should be getting exported, though. Do we have 100? We do! Nice. Okay, cool. Let's do this and this so that we can pick these up without losing them. Fantastic. And then we can put those away. Good stuff. That's that quest complete. So, yeah, I think it's going to be faster if we put these away and then use the alloy furnace in place of this fluid infuser. So we'll move you out of the way. We'll get rid of both of these, which is going to be more quickly done with the crescent hammer. Let's do this, and then we can get rid of these as well. Fantastic. If we put our alloy furnace here, we just need to export iron and redstone to this. I think that should work via the item exporter. So currently the item exporter is set to export the coolers. However, if we get 1 iron and 1 redstone out of the system, I'm hopeful that what we should be able to do is kind of clear one of these cards, go back in here, create a list that is for items, add in redstone, add in iron, and then if I take that card and throw it in the back, does that work? I think it should. The only trouble is if it exports like, oh no, yeah, that totally works, nice. And then from there, we can go ahead and just throw in, of course, the speed and energy upgrades that are in here, like that, and that's going to make the modularium substantially faster. Over here, we no longer need the speed upgrades in this guy because we have got all of the helium that we're going to need, and so we can do this. That's going to start making that modularium, I think, as fast as we can. I think that's much faster than the induction smelter is. And at this point, it's now just a case of waiting for the graphite, I guess. While we wait for the graphite, one thing we could potentially do is look at getting the basic plating here. Again, we need 4,000 basic plating, and each basic plating is 2:2 lead, and you get 4. So if we need 4,000 plating, that means we need 2,000 coal, which we just don't have, right? I think we're not quite at that stage. No, we're at 300 coal. Again, mostly due to the fact we have run out of sticks, eh? That is somewhat problematic and also somewhat understandable. What we can probably do, I think that's inserting on brown. If we set this to extract on brown as well, always active, that should start recycling those sticks back into here. Yeah, that's going to bring our coal back online. Cool. All right, so now we've got to wait for more coal and more sticks. All right, so we are very close, finally, to getting up to 2,000 coal here. It's almost there. We are fully stocked up on graphite. Over here, we have got 4,085. I did turn off the item exporter here, so it's not turning any more of our coal into graphite. And I've been slowly but surely taking all of the modularium out of here and turning it into the capsule bases. I also did request more modularium, which means that this machine in here is also making it as well. So we are getting it as fast as it is possible for us to get it. Again, it is faster for us to do the craft in here. If I do this and put some copper there, that does allow us to craft these machine chassis much, much quicker than using the simple storage remote. And we're at 979, I think, in terms of the number of capsules we have. So I'm hopeful that this should be all that we need. Perfect. Let me put that back in the system, and then capsule, we've got over 1,000. Fantastic. All we have to do is take them all out, making sure we've got inventory space for it, and boom, that is that quest complete. And now, the final piece of the puzzle, chat, is 1,000 quantum probes. For that, we need 1,000 circuit boards. We have it. We need 4,000 plastic plates. We have it. We need 2,000 basic plating, which we don't have, but we can craft. Again, it is going to be faster if we do this inside of the integrated dynamics terminal and not in here. I think the only thing that's not kind of connected up is the plutonium. And for that, all we need to do is just move this plutonium drawer, which should be completely fine. Let me dump all of this back in the system. Let's take... actually, we could just put an interface down on this thing here. If we get a storage interface, we can put that down on here, And that's going to give us access to that plutonium, which is fantastic. And so back around here, we can then go and shift-click in the recipe for the plates. So quantum probes, what we're after. We need 2,000 basic plating. And so if we just shift-click here, it's going to craft them much, much faster than if we tried to do it in our simple storage remote. And if we type in plating here as well, we can kind of get an idea of what we're working with. It is faster, surprisingly, to put it back in through the simple storage remote and then keep crafting it via the interface here. It looks like we're basically there. Yep, 2,000 is perfect. And so now let's see if we can craft 1,000 of these. I think we should be able to. Again, as I've just said, and I keep not taking my own advice, it is going to be faster if we craft this through the integrated dynamics terminal. Now we've got to wait a second while the lag kind of catches up to us. Fantastic. Let's put all of these back away, and let's shift-click that recipe in and just craft up a bunch of plutonium RTG. Hopefully, we have at least 1,000 of the plutonium RTG. We do not. We got 500, and that's because we don't have enough plates. Did I not make enough plates? Oh, no, I didn't. I need 4,000 plates. That's my bad. It was 2,000 coal, but 4,000 plates. That is fine. We have the coal to make the remainder of the plates. We don't have the lead. That could be a problem. Hold on. How are we doing over here? Are we completely out of lead? We are out of lead, and that's because we stopped sending the cryothium over here. That is kind of a fixable problem. We can take another fluid exporter and place that down here. I think I have the card for the cryothium in my inventory still. I do. That's going to get the cinnabar back online, but I really thought we had enough lead backed up. I thought we got loads of lead here. Again, it's just a problem with the induction smelter, which is really unfortunate. This is coming back online. How much more lead do I need? Because I need 1,000 of these RTG blocks. We're missing 500 of them. And in terms of making them, we're just missing more plates, right? Let me see how many I can make real quick with what we've got. So we'll do this, and I'll take the extra 53. Okay, so we need like 400 more because we've got basically 600. 400 more of the RTG means that we need 1,600 more plates, which means that we need like 800 lead, which really shouldn't take us that long. We've already got 100. I will make these machines as fast as we possibly can, especially this end machine here. We can go ahead and make some of this a bit faster, I think. The Twitch chat does make a good point. We're pretty close, but we could potentially drop some research if we have enough here. Do we have 3264? We do. I think we might just have enough to unlock these final tier thermal expansion upgrades. I think that is going to make our machine slightly faster, because right now we're kind of just waiting on the redstone furnace. We need 32 chemical and 16 nuclear. I think both of which, sorry, quantum is not nuclear. There we go, we've got it though. And so now, resonant upgrade kit, that's this one right here. It requires uranium? What? And also insane voltage coil blocks, which we can't make because we're not familiar. Of course we can't. That was wishful thinking, chat. It would have been nice if we could have used those, but I don't think we have the research capabilities to unlock the whatever. It might be this one here, but we don't have enough red research, I don't think, to make that happen. We only need 800 lead though, and we are at 600 already, and so it should be pretty close to done. The redstone furnace here is power limited, and so putting in another energy conduit would allow us to go just that little bit faster, and would be definitely worth investing in, like that. Can I get out of here? I totally can. And yeah, it should just be like a few more minutes here. Like, we're already at 650, so 800 should be just around the corner. In fact, we could probably already start taking this out. I did also take a little bit of lead and put it in the redstone furnace over here, because we're backing up on the stuff. So like, there's lead backed up here. You know, I could take this out and go drop it in this redstone furnace. This redstone furnace isn't going to give it the 2x multiplier that we get in our other redstone furnace, but it is still helpful. I don't know why I took those out. I don't need to take them out. I could do the crafting in here. Nuclear plates, boom. Give me a ton of those, as many as you possibly can. And then, of course, again, it's definitely faster to put stuff back in over here. And then, let's see. We are doing the RTG fuel. Can we craft even more of this? We totally can. Whether or not we are yet close to the 1,000 we need is a question. We're almost at 800. That's fine. More plates is good. We're still making more over in our lead production. That is completely fine. Dump all of those back in. And for hopefully the final time, let's make some more RTG. We are good. Drop those in. RTG. We have hit 1,000. Fantastic. And so, chat, the last quest, I believe, is 1,000 quantum probes, which we just need to grab a ton of. That's all we need. Quantum probes. And we've done it. We have done it. Quantum probes unlocked over at the end. Away home, victory at last. I've done it. I finally made the portal home. It's a simple item that can be activated by right-clicking it. Well, let's hope it works. Let's go ahead, drop all of these into the system. Let's take away our portal home, and we can quite simply right-click. And we've done it. We've made it back to the Lost Cities dimension, by the looks of it. But we're here. We have a tremendous number of lives, which is very nice to see. We've got absorption, speed, and jump boost still. And thanks for playing. We get a cookie as a reward. Making this mod pack was a blast, and if you made it all the way here, then I'm sure you had plenty of fun as well. Being able to share cool ideas with others and making them smile is why I do this. Well, maybe for the online clout as well, but not that much. So thanks for playing, and I hope to see you again in my next pack, whatever it will be. Thank you very much to Venator, who is the maker of this pack. I really enjoy Feed the Factory. I think it's a fantastic pack. I played through it twice now. I did also play it over on the youtube.com/Nick and Isaac channel. If you are interested in watching me play this again, you can go check it out there as well. But yeah, that is Feed the Factory. We didn't do everything you can possibly do in this pack. There is obviously more you can do with research. There's a couple of things we didn't research. We went the integrated dynamics route. We didn't go with the logistics pipes. I did do logistics pipes last time I played the pack. We didn't get some of the crazy high-end energy conduits, mostly because I don't think we needed them. No machines really required that much power or that much transfer. We did unlock all of the ore processing. We got a lot of that taken care of. We did get a lot of the power stuff going. People did ask about the higher tier solar panels. These are ridiculously expensive, both in terms of research and in terms of like crafting. And although they do produce a lot of power, I really don't think it was worth investing on that front. And there's also these turbines as well, which I also don't think were necessarily going to be useful. But yeah, this was a fantastic pack. I very much so enjoyed playing through it for a second time. And I'm looking forward to see what kind of packs Venator makes in the future. For now, though, I'm also not quite sure why the frame rate is so bad here in the Lost Cities dimension. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this series there. Thank you for watching. If you watched all the way through to the end, please leave a like on the video. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to get notified when I start a new pack in the future. And leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the pack. It all helps out. Helps the YouTube algorithm promote the video and the channels to more people. Again, the support means a whole heck of a lot. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.